Hello, Jen here with my third layout for the Build a Page series. This is the kit that I put together. You can see me showing you all the different elements here, but it's mostly Paige Evans stuff. So I had this cut file that I cut several years ago, and I just really liked that the inside cut because it was the word beautiful, but it was just the outline. So what it left behind were these inside letters that you see me kind of placing onto the paper. And then the outside, the whole outside, I just thought it cut really nicely and I could do something with it. So of course I kept it, and it ended up sitting in my stash forever and ever. And so this month there are a group of scrappers that have been focusing on using leftovers. And I thought, this is a leftover that I've been holding on to for quite a while. So maybe I should get it used up. So that's what I did. I made a whole kit out of it. So I've got the beautiful, which is going to be obviously kind of the focus of the layout. And then I added a couple of different pictures. I wasn't quite sure. I thought, I like both of them. I think they're both kind of cool and pretty and beautiful. And so I put them both into the kit thinking that, I could kind of go with my mood on the day that I was creating and see which one I would pick. And then I also have some chipboard and stickers and die cuts and that kind of thing. So then the other thing I knew I wanted to do, which is sort of a classic page technique, is I wanted to do some hand stitching. So that's the first thing I did. I went ahead and pulled all of those letters out, picked a bunch of embroidery thread that kind of matched the colors, and then I hand stitched around them. So you can see them all here. I did that off camera just because it's quicker for me to kind of sit and get comfortable and do that while I'm watching a show or chatting with the kids or whatever it might be. But if you're curious about it, because I know sometimes I think I take for granted that everybody just knows how to do it and that we're all, we've all been doing it for years and years. But if you aren't sure and you would like me to actually show on camera some hand stitching and kind of how I do it, I am not a sewer, so I don't follow any sewing rules or anything like that. I've just kind of picked it up for myself and figured out how to do like a back stitch, and I can't remember what the other one is called, a cable stitch or something like that. Whatever it is, just let me know and I can definitely do a more slowed down quick tutorial on how I hand stitch. So just leave that in the comments below and I'd be happy to do that for you. But I just quickly went ahead and stitched all those different colors onto the letters, and then I can put my layout together. So I kind of scooched the pattern paper over slightly. You can see that it's not quite 2 inches. I didn't really measure, but I kind of used the photo as a guideline. And so it's maybe about an inch and a half, 1.75 inches, something like that, that I gave myself a bit of a border and pushed the whole cut file over slightly so that I could put the picture down without actually covering up any of the letters. And so I picked the picture of Kaylin in her bathing suit. I just thought that worked really good, and everything is sort of vertical on this layout. And so I thought that just matched the feeling of the layout really well. But her bathing suit is that nice bright sky blue. And so I did want to bring a little bit of that into the rest of the layout. And so I just did some watercolors. Those are some little Japanese watercolors that I got, and they're in those little plastic kind of containers. And so you just squish a little bit out and you use them exactly like watercolors. That's what they are. You could put them into pans. If you had pans, you could definitely squeeze the whole thing out and put them into the pan. But I used my silicone mat, and when I let it dry, it will just keep reactivating. So I'm just going to kind of let it sit there. I won't wash it off because there was a lot left over. And so I kind of just have a watercolor ready to go whenever I need it. But I love kind of picking up little things like that. I think they're fun, and they're always just slightly different colors, right? So it was just kind of fun to play around with that. And it matches pretty good, I think. So sometimes I win in the color matching game and sometimes I don't. And this particular day, I think it was a win. So I just wanted to add a little bit of that blue. I didn't want to make that background too busy. I had planned on maybe using the stencil in this one, but I definitely didn't do that because I didn't think you'd really see enough of the stencil to be able to notice it with all of the pattern going on and the letters over top, but also I just didn't want to make something that was already busy even more busy. So I just smushed some blue, and I really like that because it definitely ties in with the picture really nicely. So once that was dry a little bit, I could go ahead and pop all of my letters down. I think that looks really good. It looks beautiful. I love the way that the hand stitching adds some dimension and just a little bit of different texture. And I don't really need to do a whole lot to it because there is so many patterns going on in that paper and a lot of interest. So I'm just going to kind of focus most of the embellishment over here by the photo. And you can see I do play around quite a bit. All of these die cuts come from different collections, so they don't totally match each other. And so I just was trying to find the right way to kind of tuck them all in together where they look nice, and I think I did a pretty good job. I think they're all kind of tucked in there nicely. I'm going to add a little bit of dimension too to kind of pop them up and create a little bit of shadow and movement. But one thing I definitely do notice is that everything that I've used so far is that same kind of cardstock texture, and it is busy. There are a lot of patterns going on here. So I did go through my stash to add a few things that weren't originally in my kit. One of the things that I found were these 2 packages of, they're kind of like air clay or polymer clay, I guess, flowers, 3-dimensional flowers. They're really beautiful. They're kind of, rose type flowers, and I really love them, but I haven't used them yet because I think they are quite dimensional, and that sometimes scares me. Like, it's definitely something that when I put this into an album and the page protector is squished down, it's going to leave little imprints in the page protector, that kind of thing. So yeah, I haven't used them yet, but I actually love how they end up looking. So I'm glad that I pulled them out. So they definitely bring a different look and a different texture. And because they're solid colors versus everything else on this page that isn't, I think they really stand out and kind of give the eye a bit of something to focus on. So that's exactly what I was hoping that they would do. And I think it's successful. Let me know what you think. So I do play around a little bit with where I wanted them to go. And originally I had pulled all of the flowers off of that one pack, but the orange was this sort of neon color of orange, which looked really pretty. But once I put it onto the paper, it was just standing out so much as being different from the other colors in the Paige Evans paper that I decided to switch it out for the other pack, which is more on the browns, but it had a softer peach colored flower. So that still is a color that isn't quite in the collection either, or in the paper, but I think it was just a little bit more subtle, so I like it a bit better. And then I also found these puffy stickers from Dear Lizzie, and they had lots of florals on them, and so I figured, since I'm already adding a bunch of different styles of florals all together, I might as well go ahead and add these. They're basically the right colors, so they fit in really well, and they just brought in a different texture and a different size of flower. So I really like how those ended up looking too. They just really kind of beefed up my 2 clusters at the top and the bottom of the picture, and that cute little cluster that I put by the U, which I just am so in love with. I really love how that one turned out. I also added the word my up in the B and then girl down in the bottom, because that was kind of the goal for bingo for me, was to use 2 different alphas. So I was successful with that. among other things, I checked off quite a few squares on the bingo card. If I just pull up the bingo card here, I can let you know. I did scraps and florals, pastel pale colors, mixed media, sequins, cut files, stickers, bright bold colors, grid design kind of, because I think the letters kind of look like a grid design, 2 or more alphas, flare. I could technically say pattern paper, 3 pattern papers, because there are 3, well, there's more than 3 patterns in that one paper. So that's maybe stretching it a little bit, but yeah, and then hearts or stars, because I think I do add some hearts into here eventually as well. So lots and lots of squares, no official lines or diagonal lines or anything like that, but lots of different squares, at least one from every column and every row. So I kind of like that. I think it's pretty successful and I love how this turned out. Please go and check out the other ladies because they've been showing all of their layouts as well with their kits. And that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be back tomorrow. So until then, happy scrapping. Bye.
Bye. Thanks to me. To my channel.